2023. The first item on the agenda is public comment. Has anybody signed up? Elizabeth? No one signed up this morning for public comment. All right. Next item on the agenda is a review and approval of the minutes from our last meeting, which was January 17th.
Move to approve.
Got a motion from Mr. Drunky.
Second.
And a second for Mr. Strange. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Next, we have a review of the financial statements from Katrina.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Good morning, board members and Vice Mayor Wilson. I'm presenting the monthly cash flow information for January 31st, 2023. Operating account summary as of January 2023. Our beginning cash was $2,835,601. We had grand total significant cash receipts, $743,970. And I've itemized those purchases or expenses for you. Income. Okay, the income has been itemized for it. Going back, we have the disbursements, the grand significant cash disbursements, $1,021,557. That's also, the expenditures have also been itemized for you. Okay, and that leaves us an ending balance in our operating account summary as of January 31st, 2023, $2,555,491. Incentive, initiative, and summary account for January 2023. We have beginning cash of January 2023, $2,656,485. Significant cash, $481. Significant disbursements, $10,923. Leaving us an ending cash as of January 31st, 2023, $2,645,647. EDIP grant summary report for January 2023. We had beginning BBDA EDIP grant balance, $3,656,689. We had earned interest and activity analysis fees, $39. EDIP expired and closed grants for this January period, $79,043. New grants approved by BBDA for January was $140,000. In the EDIP grant funds available as of January 2023, $3,595,771. I have provided a package which details all of those, a summary as to what we've expensed, as well as what grants have expired. Madam Chair, that concludes the financial report for January 2023.
Thank you, Katrina. We've got a question for Bill.
Yes,
On
sir.
the expired grant, Rocks Express, was there any request for extension or anything on that? What is the status of that entity? Because we approved that right before the Broadway and Sideways, and they were dependent on smooth traffic back and forth to DC and Richmond. Just curious.
You said for the extension?
Yeah, did they request an extension, or what is the status of that project?
I'll take that one.
Yes, sir.
No request for an extension, and the routes are not active at present.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Katrina? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you for allowing me to serve you. Have a good day.
Next item is business parks. Request for approval of a PMI Construction Design.
Morning, Vice Mayor, Madam Chair, members of the board. Precision Measurements, Inc. is a potential buyer in our business park, and it's getting really close to finalizing their design and really needs approval from VBD on the construction designs today. There are disclosures. This hasn't been before you since I think February of 2022, so a couple of reminders. They are a full-service land surveying firm. They do a number of work in Virginia Beach. They're very well known. With their headquarters here in Virginia Beach. They're going into parcel in yellow in Corporate Landing Business Park off of Corporate Landing Parkway. And to recap the sales terms that were approved, will create at least 20 new jobs. It's 2,000 per usable acre, and the usable acres have been agreed upon at 2.9 for the site. The site's 3.5. And there was 2 streetlights that were never constructed, were cost contributing for, so the total estimated land proceeds from this transaction would be $564,000 and $300. So the construction design, it's a 3.5 I-1 site with a 16,000 square foot single-story building with offices in the front and a garage in the back. 53 parking spaces. It's a 1-story brick structure. It's meeting all the required setbacks. You can see their floor plan here. There is a small tenant space, about 28,000 square feet here on the end, and they get a little garage space on the top as well. And you can see their dumpsters detail. It is meeting the design criteria except for the dumpster enclosure. It's supposed to be 8 foot tall when it's visible from the lake or the roadway and match the materials of the building. And go back to the site plan. It's visible more so from the lake. It's this little square up there. It is surrounded with year-round landscaping, but it only appears to be about 6.5 feet tall and of wood construction. So just please let me know if you find any issues with that. We have granted those types of exceptions in the past. You can see their front and side elevations, continuity of design all the way around, varying brick patterns. And the designs, with the exception of the dumpster enclosure, meet the corporate landing design criteria. The site plan has received conditional approval from DSC, with one of the conditions being VPDA approval, and construction is anticipated shortly after the spring once they close. Any questions?
Any questions for Emily?
What's the problem to make it 8 feet high, the enclosure?
We can certainly request that from them if you feel strongly it should be.
Iron brick.
Yeah, I mean, it's 1.5 feet, it's not that much.
Yeah, but currently she said the plan is wood, doesn't match the structure.
But Emily, can you go back to the location? There may be a few people walking by that's in the lake, but it's really, yeah, it's really hidden from the road.
It's screened and it's in the back. It has doors. It's just, not meeting the criteria to a T.
And we've approved this type of minor variation in the past, right?
My question is only, what's the big problem to actually change it to 8 feet and make it for the things? Is it cost or? So we're talking $10,000 instead of whatever more?
How big is it?
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't seem like a big deal to make it fit and meet.
About 13 by 12.
I understand it's hidden, but I don't see the big difference in the design cost.
Is it the height that's bothering you, or the building materials piece of it?
For me, it would be the material more than the height.
What's it proposed to be made out of?
Like blanks or?
So the detail you see is what's been provided. We can certainly ask for more detail and explanation.
Just saying, I mean, we're probably investing here $2-3 million, or they're investing $2-3 million, and now we're talking about $10,000 change.
Is it a board-on-board fence?
It appears so, yes.
Well, I think we should make some decision, because if this is, if their site plan is contingent on this, we don't want to make them have to wait another 30 days, so just for us to decide.
Does the sign have something to do with their brand or, you know, the reason that why it's wood? Or do you think it's purely a cost?
They probably figure it's back there, nobody's going to see it, why do we have to
Wanna
make
spend
it
it,
nice, yeah.
And Emily, did you say it's surrounded by landscaping?
It is, yeah. There's evergreen landscaping around it. See the little circles?
Here people see it. Yes.
I personally don't have strong feelings. I just want to be consistent with what we've done in the past and what we intend to do in the future. With you.
Yeah, and if we've allowed this type of modification in the past. I mean, I don't have a whole lot of heartburn over it because I don't think anybody's going to see it. It'll be surrounded by landscaping. So I don't see really the need to make them do the same building materials. Do you know, Emily, why the requirement is 8 feet instead of?
I think it's to protect it if it is visible from the right of way, like it's right up front or something. We just want it, you can't see it.
The dumpster's probably 6 foot tall, 7 foot, so you wouldn't block it out.
Yeah.
I have 3 dumpsters in the city with nothing around them.
Yeah, and these are not city requirements, these are our design criteria, which we're gonna talk about some changes to those anyway.
I think we do, we put columns and then wood in between it, which looks nice.
I mean, I don't really have much thing, it's just like for 10 grand we're making a thing, why would we
Yeah,
ask for it?
yeah.
Just not do it how it's been asked for.
It's the will of the group, I think we need to make a decision, do we wanna suggest that they incorporate some brick and wood?
Yes, or ask for, voluntary compliance, at least on the material aspect. Or if there's a way to integrate the brick columns with wood in between or something. I mean, we could try to get them to meet us halfway.
Decent compromise.
Yeah, let's try that. Let's see if they can do brick columns with the wood in between, and I think the height's probably okay. I don't know that we need to go much higher given where it's located.
Okay, will do. Thank you.
Do we still need
We need
to?
a motion.
Okay, so I'll still need a motion, and then we'll need to vote on that.
Motion to approve with the amended design requirements that we requested.
All right, so we've got a motion from Mr. Franklin and a second from Gutser. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Thank you. Next is the Innovation Park Design Guidelines. Emily.
Great. So in front of you, I believe, are the old guidelines and new guidelines we're requesting to have updated for the Innovation Park, our other business park off of Pennsylvania Road. Located here, the first phase of Huron Way was completed in 2020. It was conveyed to the city in 2016. It was approximately 150 acres at the time. You can see the original master plan here. The original design guidelines and the proffers for the park were adopted in 2016 at that time as well. So what's changed? We're finding that it was originally called the Virginia Beach Biomedical Park. We're finding that the biomedical ecosystem in Virginia Beach really needs a boost first, and hence our biomedical incubator that was started. And we're finding that the market has shifted in recent years to other industrial sectors, causing expansion of the park's focus to research, technology, and manufacturing, while still supporting the field of innovation and sciences. And also the density of the park has changed with the new city's updated stormwater requirements and further investigation once we got ownership of the park with the soils out there that are requiring more land and stormwater mitigation strategies to accommodate the development there. the density, originally they probably couldn't be obtained. And why this is needed is really just to keep up with, remain relevant in the current market that we are seeing and opportunities within the park. Again, it was really focused on office medical uses and seeing it more manufacturing. That guidance for those manufacturing facilities for developers and staff alike isn't really provided. We really wanted to add more guidance for the large format buildings, new and innovative materials that are available to them, while still achieving the overall vision and aesthetics for the park that were originally laid out with the existing design guidelines. So the guidelines are broken into site design, building design, and then we've added a review section by VBDA because that was never in there, so it's very clear, similar to corporate landing, what the review and approval process is by this body during their approval process. The name has changed to Innovation Park. There's more images and document maps. It's easier kind of to follow, and 15 pages with lots of graphics. We hope that people will read it and find it easier to follow. And the site design section, the landscape and planning section has been edited for clarity. There was an old typewritten appendix in the original guidelines that's been incorporated into the text. There is a detailed list of changes in your packet if you want to get more into the weeds of it. No pun intended. There's a new fencing section, so fencing still is discouraged overall, but when it is provided, there's guidance for something that should be in the side and rear of the property and coupled with landscaping. Outdoor amenity areas are encouraged, and there's a new signage section that was never in the original guidelines. There is landscaping similar to corporate landing above and beyond what's required in the zoning ordinance, similar to enhanced entry drive landscaping that has not been changed. Updated building design section, again, to provide more guidance for manufacturing and light industrial facilities. More simplified materials and building palette, outdoor storage and staging, more guidance provided on that if it is needed. It's in the rear of the property, completely screened with a wall and landscaping year-round. And then there was originally a parking structure section in the guidelines that we don't feel the density would ever really achieve a parking structure in this section, and that was removed. We did send out communications to all the owners. There's 2 other ones in the park, and explaining the update and asking them if they'd like to be party to our application. YCH LLC requested to be a co-applicant. This is going to require Planning Commission and City Council approval because it's a modification of proffers. The other owner was not interested, and will follow the former design guidelines, and that is this parcel that will remain under the 2016 design guidelines. So just a quick schedule. We posted some signs around the park that this is going to Planning Commission and City Council as a request. We'll go to the TA-ITA committee meeting next week. Planning Commission's March 8th, and then City Council and 8th. So requesting approval from you today to proceed and approve the request to update the design guidelines.
All right, any questions for Emily? Emily, I have a question. So when, I guess, they're going through the site plan process, do you sit down and review the plans, or how?
We try to do it concurrently with their DSC site plan submission, so there's no prior work. So when the first site submission comes into DSC, I usually review it, and that's the time to provide guidelines. So by the time we're bringing it to VBDA, they're at their 3rd or 4th submittal and ready for, so any issues that we're seeing with the design criteria and the guidelines are worked out concurrently. With planning's review of it as well. So by the time you see it, there's, it's ready for approval in our opinion.
And when they, I guess the property owner approaches us, I mean, we let them know early on if they want to go into Innovation Park, their design guidelines.
Yeah, usually once the business development reps find a business and house them there, there's early discussion about what's expected for the property and the design criteria provided to them.
So no surprises.
And I'm working with their engineer on stormwater functions, and there's usually those pre-submittal meetings for sure are taking place.
All right, any questions for Emily? Thank you for having the sort of before and after comparison. That's helpful. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the Innovation Park Design Guidelines so that we can make that application to modify the proffers that incorporate the design guidelines. Got a motion from Mr. Franklin and a second from Kunzer. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item is under our EDIP program, request for approval to close out and EDIP Part A.
Good morning, Vice Mayor, Madam Chair, members of the authority. This morning we're going to talk about proof recs. With the disclosures. Company overview. So this is a German-based manufacturer of electronic ignition devices. They moved to Virginia Beach from Gainesville, Georgia in 2013. And they're located on 2573 Quality Virginia Beach, Virginia. The original project numbers were 7,330,000, 60 jobs with an average wage of $44,240. So that was the project numbers that the goal to get to and what we were expecting them to get to. In 2013, we awarded them $120,000 EDIP. And in 2020, we awarded them a second $120,000 EDIP, and both of these have been paid out. So they've been awarded a total of $240,000. To date, they have invested $5,874,293. They have employed 50 people, or created 50 jobs, and the average wage has increased and is now $54,645,000. Based on current numbers from January 2023, they could have qualified for $384,972. And actually, I'll go back and point out one thing. In 2020, the $120,000 that we paid them was contingent on them meeting the original $7,333,000, or they had to pay back 50%, so they would have had to pay $60,000 back. However, since they could have qualified for $384,972, based on their current capital investment numbers, we are suggesting that we just close this EDIP and ask for the $60,000 repayment, and that the 2020 EDIP award and the performance figures that we agreed upon just be edited. So we do not foresee any additional capital investment or jobs to be made at this time. But we think that they've qualified and satisfied the performance criteria.
Any questions for Laura? Laura, is there a reason why we didn't go with the full award that we could have gone with?
I think we were just being, I don't know, honestly. In 2013, I wasn't here, and I think a lot of us weren't here.
I can offer some context on that one. Is this one important to this case predates, I think, everyone on the existing team except for Alex. But the reason for that amount was largely attributable to the 50-50 match that was required for the Commonwealth Opportunity Fund. Going back to, I guess, early in Governor McAuliffe's term. I think that's right. And so I think that the thought was at that point, the amount of money that came in was exactly what was needed to match the Commonwealth Opportunity Fund and no more.
And I think the challenge on the additional capital investment is they can't really expand.
Exactly.
They can't find the employees.
Yeah, they've, as you'll see, they have increased their average wage, and part of our performance criteria is that they must hold on to an employee for a full year before they get paid out. And they're having challenges, like I think a lot of employers right now, finding 10 additional folks to employ and keep on staff for a full year. And then they can't invest additional capital or buy more equipment if they can't find the 10 extra people. So, I mean, they're a strong company. They, one of their major customers is Shield. They've been a good partner to the city for the last 10 years. We don't see them going anywhere. And they've made most of their capital investment.
Madam Chair, if I may, a quick correction. It was the McDonald administration.
Oh, wow, it goes back a little ways.
Yeah.
The second 120 here, was this the one, refresh my memory, that we actually participated in repaying this
For the
debt?
Governor's Opportunity Fund. Mhm.
Right, we repaid it, that's where the second 120 came from.
Correct.
And now we're meeting our own requirements that we put into that repayment and addressing that.
Right, we had thought, well, maybe we'll just make them pay back 50% if they didn't meet the criteria, but the world has changed slightly since we've made all these decisions, and we're just asking just to close this one.
All right, any other questions for Laura? All right, if not, thank you, Laura.
All right, thank you.
Chair will entertain a motion on the request for approval to close out the $120,000 EDIP Part A award for proof regs.
Motion.
Got a motion from me and a second.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Parker. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries.
Thank you. All right,
We have contracts. You're still up, Laura?
yep.
Okay, request for approval to modify the Miller Group and SANJO land swap.
Right, so this one is slightly confusing, so I'll try to go slowly. This is a SANJO retention project. Disclosures for SANJO. Disclosures for Miller Group. All right, so an overview. This is a SANJO retention effort. The Miller Group was prepared to, right here is SANJO's current facility, and right here is Lot 2 that SANJO wants to expand on. The Miller Group was prepared to move forward with leasing that and developing it for another company. However, SANJO wanted to hold on to that Lot 2 for future expansion options. And they also wanted to hold on to a 5.4 lease rate, which was based on development cost. To hold this 5.4% lease rate, a $900,000 gap in developmental costs needed to be closed. So in July 2020, the Development Authority adopted a resolution. And quickly, just a couple of points, is the Miller Group and BBDA agreed to this land swap with the differences in the two values of corporate landing and this Lot 2 being made up from a cash contribution by the Miller Group to BBDA for $348,000. The remaining $900,000 value difference being applied to the construction cost for Phase 2 for the for SANJO. And the value differential gets SANJO an economically viable lease rate. And I'll go into some more details about these 3 bullet points. Here is a larger map of Lot 2 on Progress Lane, which shows at 6.16 developed or usable acres. And then the corporate landing map that we're utilizing that shows 12.4 acres when all this was negotiated and agreed upon. During this whole process, our office switched civil engineering companies. We switched from Kimberly Horn to VHB. And you'll see that the maps are now different for corporate landing. Right here it's 12.4 acres, but on the new map, you'll see that it is, where to go, 10.4 is only developable. This changes the values. So nothing has changed with Progress Lane. The value is $1,232,000. Corporate landing with Kimberly Horn map was valued at $2,489,000. But with the new VHB map with less usable acres, the total value is $2,080,000. So this shows the value differentials that we're up against. Originally, the Development Authority was going to be paid $348,000. But since there's less developable acres, there's a $52,000 gap in that $900,000 value that we were trying to achieve that could be used for developmental costs to get a 5.4 percent lease rate for SANJO. So to fill the $52,000 gap, we are suggesting or we're proposing a cash neutral transaction to fill this $52,000 gap, which will consist of a topo survey that is $18,000, a geotechnical survey up to $30,000, and then also EMP, the sand from the retention ponds being sold at a discount. So we would be amending the resolution that we had adopted in July 2022. Any questions?
Well, it's just the gap, right? I mean, from what you originally priced it at to now.
Right, there's a $900,000 gap that we're trying to fill, and since corporate landing lot, the developable acres is less than we originally thought.
Was it just wet or something?
I'm sorry?
Wetlands or something?
Wetlands, yeah. So it wasn't clear that right here they were including some other pond.
So the property itself includes some of that detention pond.
Right.
And that was difference in, obviously that's not usable, but it's part of the property, so.
And traditionally, we only charge for usable acres.
And there was no discussion about sharing this value differential.
No.
It's basically the same deal, it's just less land.
Correct. And it'll be cash neutral transaction for the authority.
This should be it, right? This won't be coming back.
This should be it.
All right, and the chair will entertain a motion on the request if there are no additional questions.
Motion to approve.
Got a motion to approve in a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. Next item on the agenda is a request for approval of a lease agreement in connection with the International Incubator.
Yes. Good morning, Madam Chair, Vice Mayor Wilson, members of the authority, bringing to you a recommendation for our International Incubator. And here are the disclosures for Achualtic. So some background about the company. They're an engineering company specialized in technological diagnosis, ICT project design, and support services for procurement of technologies. They're based in Barcelona, Spain, and they're a member of PMI, which is a Spanish SME association that we are also a member of. We were first introduced to this company in June 2022, on which the Vice Mayor joined us. And then the company also came to Virginia Beach as part of the PMI delegation in September 2022. That's actually them in front of our incubator. First, some background about the International Incubator, just as a reminder. You approved your first tenant in September 2021. This is an incentive for businesses looking to locate in the United States, recognizing that most international businesses start with a smaller sales office before growing to distribution, manufacturing, or a larger operation office. And it's meant for companies only needing 1 to 2 offices. So this is actually the first virtual tenant that we're going to be bringing to you. It is still a maximum of 2 years on the lease. It comes with a US mailing address as well as access to the conference room as long as they're giving me 72 hours notice. After speaking with the company, I expect that they'll be here about a week every quarter. And then the payment structure is based on comparative pricing of other virtual office tenants in Town Center. And so our recommendation is to approve the sublease of the authority's International Incubator to Achualtic. Any questions?
Yeah, thank you.
It's a no-brainer.
All right, any questions for Paige?
What's their business again?
So they're an engineering company. They work on ICT projects, but what their main business is they help with support services of companies procuring technology.
All right. Any other questions? Okay, I will be abstaining from the vote on this one, as my firm does work for this company, although I do not personally do any work for the company. So I'll entertain a motion on the request. Got a motion and a second? Great. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. And again, I will be abstaining on this item. The next item on the agenda is an additional request for approval of a lease agreement, again, for our international incubator.
Good morning, Vice Mayor, Madam Chair, members of the board, and guests. I'm again presenting to you a lease recommendation for international company, Capital Global, Inc. Here are the disclosures. Overview of the company. They were established in 2015. They do represent the auto parts sector. They're looking to establish their headquarters here in Virginia Beach as soon as possible. Our staff has been working with them for the past 3 years, and the Kappa team and our team met November of last year and toured the Incubator facility as well as the Hive for their transition to the U.S. And they intend to open a small sales administrative office here with a view of expanding Korean auto parts into the U.S. market. Distribution and manufacturing facilities are planned by the company once success is achieved, meaning once they open up an office here. And Virginia Beach was chosen, given access to the Port of Virginia, along with the ability to hire required skill sets for plant facilities. This is their phase in. They have 3 phases, and that is to secure their business license, which they are currently working on now. Hopefully that'll be solidified soon. They plan on opening up the warehouse, distribution center, and then establish a testing laboratory and assembly manufacturing facility. This is an overview, some background about the incubator that Paige just touched on that remains the same. And the lease terms, again, is for a maximum of 2 years, access to the conference room, a private entrance, and this is the cost, broken down by the months. And the recommendation is approval for Capital Global to lease the space. Any questions?
I have one question. So will this fill up the space, or?
Yes, it will. We have 1 space left, to my understanding, so this will fill that space. Also, if I am correct, I believe there is a company there is looking to move on. Am I correct, Lauren? So that will allow another space to be vacant.
So this will fill out our incubator. We will have no more space, so it'll be fully leased. We do have one company that in September, they will have reached their 2-year max. So it's a great story for us.
And at 2 years, they'll be looking for space.
They've come in town and they are looking for permanent space here in Town Center. The company that is growing or hitting their 2-year mark in the incubator. So
That's great. So it's doing what we wanted.
doing exactly what we wanted.
Wonderful. All right, any questions? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion on the request for approval of this lease agreement. Got a motion from Mr. Brunke, a second from Mr. Strange. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. The motion carries. All right, that gets to the end of that part of our agenda. Next item is for any comments from commissioners, any priority items. I know, Bill, do you want to give us just a little update on where we are with the changes to the policy or rethinking the policies?
Sure, we're in the process of looking at it. Mike and I have exchanged some emails and conversation. We hope to have something, some conversation with staff soon and bring something forward in the next meeting or meeting after that.
All right, thank you all for the update. I've got nothing to report There's Taylor. Do you have a report for us?
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the authority. A couple of quick updates. First, I'd be remiss if I didn't thank the Vice Mayor. Sounds like as we continue to see more businesses locate here from Spain. I'll tell you the trip that she and one of our past members of council took with us, proving to be one of the most effective meetings we've ever had. And so, and I'll just as an extension of that, Madam Chair, thank the authority for your continued support of the International Incubator, because as you can see, as you just mentioned, it's doing exactly what we hoped it would do, and we're seeing companies line up to start to come into it. And as we know, as real estate becomes ever more scarce here, it's important that we do start focusing more actively on growing our professional office climate. And so, thank you for your leadership. Thank you both for your leadership on those initiatives. One big announcement for us is we've scheduled, and thank you for this, the authority's annual, the largest annual fundraiser the authority does, and it's your golf tournament. It's been scheduled for May 5th at Virginia Beach National. Would welcome any members of any members of our business community that would like to help us support local charities. Just examples of groups we've supported in the past. You've supported the Kempsville Entrepreneurial Academy, the Bayside Medical Studies Academy. We've supported let's see, the Begin Again Foundation, who's a local charity led by Mark and Audrey Leishman, which is also great for us because it's their annual event brings a lot of ultra high net worth individuals into the community every year that we're able to interact with for business purposes. But then also more recently some direct investment in underserved communities, organizations that support underserved communities here in Virginia Beach. And so one, thank you for your continued leadership in this area, but also want to invite the community to come out and join us in that, as it is a significant fundraiser, and it's an opportunity for us to really get back to those in the community that need our support. Finally, I'm going to introduce a couple of new members of staff. First, and by the way, as we're finishing the build out of the team, it seems like every month there's a couple of new faces. So let's see, I'm trying to remember. Kate, we introduced you last month. Yep. All right, great. So this week, anybody in here other than Chuck that I haven't introduced? All right, good. So Chuck Rigney, if you would stand up. Chuck's not going to be a stranger to anyone in the business community here in Hampton Roads, but he is new to Virginia Beach. And so one of the things that I'm really excited to announce that Chuck Rigney has joined our team as a business development administrator. Chuck's going to be working with Laura and her team as we continue to drive forward in business attraction. We're really looking forward to the broad experience Chuck brings to the team as it relates to not just getting deals finished and across the finish line, but also great experience in business retention and expansion, which obviously, if you look at, now that the team's rebuilt, you'll hear from us, that's going to become an ever more important, increasingly important part of what we do. It's again, when you look across the country at our business, about 80% of the announcements that are made within communities generally are in the retention and expansion space. And so now that the team's built out, everyone's hitting their stride. It's great to have Chuck, his experience, and just Chuck formally and in front of the community. Welcome to the team. We're so glad to have you.
Thank you very much. I'm really pleased to be here. Obviously, it's a great team, and I really look forward to working with each and every one of you. And it's an exciting time for Virginia Beach and for me, and I'm really looking forward to being here and helping any way I can. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Chuck.
You're welcome, Chuck. We're so fortunate to have you here in Virginia Beach.
Laura, Kathy, did I miss anything?
Just you probably a new face. Josh Spicer's been with us since this fall semester. He's a Virginia Wesleyan student, but I think this is his first meeting because his class schedule has changed. So wonderful help to us.
Are we your only 8:30 in the morning opportunity?
Laura, thank you for that. I'll tell you the way that we got Josh. we had prospects in town, and the size of our party changed quickly. And Josh was working basically at the front desk at sort of one of our local restaurants, and they were booked solid, and I was in distress. And Josh found a way on the fly. I think, Josh, you were what, 18, 19 years old at the time? I mean, just getting started, something to that effect. And Josh figured it out, got us seated, we landed the company. And so handed him my card on the way out, and he had told me he was a Virginia Wesleyan student. I said, if you ever need an internship, if you ever need help, you call us. And so he did. He came, he applied. We were delighted that he was successful, and been with us for about a year now. Is it or just 6 months?
Semester.
One semester.
This is the second semester.
But doing great work, and so we're glad to have him. And also, many of you will remember Caleb Dunlap, who was with us for about a year this last summer, before he went back to Mary Washington. We just wrote a letter of recommendation for Caleb. Looks like his experience here is actually helping him as well. So, thank you for your support. Again, for your continued support as we're able to expose young people to the work we do here and help them grow.
Taylor, one thing.
Oh.
Just wanted to remind you the state of the city, March 15th. I believe that we sent out an invitation for anyone who'd like to sit at the table. If you would please let Elizabeth know.
Madam Chair, that's all I have. Thanks very much.
All right, thank you. And the State of the City is always a wonderful opportunity to see folks in the business community and to hear about all the things going on here. All right. Anything further for the good of the group? Okay, hearing none. The chair will entertain a motion to recess into a closed session pursuant to the exemptions from open meetings allowed by Section 2.2-3711A Code of Virginia as amended for the following purposes. Contracts, discussion of the award of a public contract involving the expenditure of public funds, including interviews of bidders or offerers, and discussion of the terms or scope of such contract, where discussion in an open session would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of the public body pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A29, and that relates to District 2, District 4, and District 5. And legal matters, consultation with legal counsel employed or retained by a public body regarding specific legal matters requiring the provision of legal advice by such counsel pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A8, and that pertains to District 8. And Elizabeth will have a motion and then a roll call vote.
District 2, Madam Chair.
I'm sorry, District 2. Motion, sorry, we need a motion still. A motion for Mr. Brunke and a second for Mr. Franklin, and then a roll call vote.
Thank you. William Brown?
Yes.
William Brunke?
Yes.
Taylor Franklin?
Yes.
Peggy Morgan?
Yes.
Lisa Murphy?
Yes.
Ronnie Parker?
Yes.
Mike Sandy?
Yes.
Bill Strange?
Yes.
Gunther Weissenfield?
Yes.
All right.